Hey Meg, so today basically I've written you out this recipe for your bridal shower, but along with it I thought it would be really nice if I made a video for you because it's heaps more fun when you can watch someone do it and then you know exactly where you're stuffing it up or not stuffing it up or whatever. This is a really, really simple recipe for Italian fried meatballs as opposed to the type of like damp ones that you have in a sauce, like the softer ones in a sauce. These are also really great for freezing, so you can make a massive batch and then chuck them in the freezer, and then you can get them down in the morning before you go to work, and by the time you get home, they'll be all nice and defrosted and delicious. So basically, I'm just going to go like that, and you should be able to get a good shot of my hands doing all the work. So we have a kilo of just Coles beef mince here. I've just got it out of the fridge, so it's still a little bit. Just get your hands, washed hands, clean hands. Okay, so mince, right? Okay. One of these small type of deli tubs of Parmesan is plenty, grated Parmesan. If I can open the bloody thing. Now, you don't have to use all of it. But if you like them cheesy, you can use all of it. They're not going to fall apart if you decide you're not going to use it all. You know what? It's all going in. All going in. Lovely. Delicious. Okie dokie. So, you also want to crack a couple of eggs in here. That'll bind it all together. So, I've got 2 eggs. I like to crack them in a cup or something first to make sure that they're not weird and rotten or anything along those lines. 2 eggs. Done. Okay. So that can sit aside for a second. Where am I going to put this? This is real life because this is like my tiny little kitchen and what I can do in it. So I'm going to also cut a bit of garlic in here. You don't have to finely chop it or anything along those lines. It's for flavour. Some people might get a nice little bit of garlic in here. In fact, I would probably do 3 cloves of garlic, but when I went to Coles this morning, I wasn't super impressed with I've got a knife that's way too big for this. Wasn't super impressed with the garlic this morning that I saw. So I'm only going to put 2 in and they can just not be that garlicky this time around. Whatever, roughly chop your garlic. You're not a chef, so you can just chop it like a normal human being would chop it. Lovely. Nice chunky bits. I like getting a nice hit of garlic when I bite into something. Boom. So that, now, this is the bit that is a little bit, I guess, unconventional. I guess my nonna would like turn over in the grave. But essentially, most people don't make their own breadcrumbs, and I'm not a massive fan of the breadcrumbs that you buy kind of pre-packaged. I don't know, they're just dry and then really sandy. So this is how I get, I guess, a little bit more moisture back into those breadcrumbs that you buy. So I've just got 4 loaves of bread, whatever bread you've got. It doesn't have to be white, it doesn't have to be Italian. This is Bergen bread, the soy and linseed one, right? So what I'm going to do to make my breadcrumbs to go along with this, I'm just going to take these crusts. If you do have like normal like Wonder White bread, if that's what you want to use, which I wouldn't recommend because I find that bread kind of really starchy. But if you're using something that's got a really hard crust, just kind of take the crust off because it won't break down the way that we want it to break down. Okay, so all I'm going to do is dice this bread, and this way, this way, this way, and I'm going to chuck it into a bowl. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to soak it in just a little bit of milk. This is my version of tablespoons. We want about roughly 6. Or 5, I can't remember how many I've got. Yeah, right, whatever. 6. And soak that bread in the milk. And let that soak there for a while. The one thing that we're missing in our meat mix is some parsley now. So I've just got a little bunch of parsley that I washed yesterday because I used some of it yesterday, but I might just give it another rinse. Okay. Now, you're just going to chop it really finely. There you go. You don't want any stalky bits in this, so I just kind of like roughly ripping off the... You don't have to be too delicate, but the idea is no one wants to bite into a massive stalky bit. So you need just enough to flavour the meat, but also enough to give it a bit of a speckle, because food, especially Italian food, it colours like an important element of it. You see a lot of things that are recipes that are themed in red, white and green, or there's tomatoes, there's basil, there's garlic, and you've got green, white and red and everything. And so for me, I love the flavour of parsley, and I love the colour that it can bring to a dish. Even though it'll darken when you cook it, it's still a nice little fleck, a nice little surprise. I haven't chopped it up too roughly because my knife is a bit shit, so... Okay, so they normally say to squish it with a fork. I think that's pointless, so I'm not going to do it with a fork. Now, here is my normal amount of my wet breadcrumbs. They've been sitting in the milk, so I'm just going to chuck that all in. Now, to dry it a little bit, to dry it up just a smidge, I'm going to use some normal breadcrumbs, and I'm probably going to use, it's the cup with the egg stuff in it. There's another cup. Okay. Half cup. I'm going to see how that goes. Because the good thing about it is you can probably tell whether or not it's moist or not as you're using it with your hands. The other thing that I like to do that is another moisture, but also a completely different flavour than what traditional meatballs have. This is hazelnut meal. I just I wouldn't say that that's more than 3 tablespoons of it. Just a little bit. I like the nutty flavour that it brings to our mixture. If you feel like it's dry or not coming together, at first it'll take a while before those eggs start to break down. But yeah, you're just squishing now, and this is the fun bit. This is where you get your hands dirty. And then after this, it's essentially done. All we have to do is fry them. So if you were making, if you were making these for to put into a red sauce, you can, at this stage, when we start balling them up, you would then just really lightly fry them just to bind and seal all of the flavours in. And then you would dunk them in a sauce and let the mince cook the rest of the way through in the sauce. In fact, I might do the red sauce for you as well at another stage. As another way that you can use this recipe, which I'm sure you're getting heaps because it's such a beautiful idea, the recipe book that they've made for you. And you'll start to see, now you've got to pay attention to that bread that you've put in as well. It's not still clumps and cubes of bread. That's why we broke them down in that milk, so that, not one's biting into a lump of bread. Gross. Okay, I think this might need a little bit more breadcrumbs, to be totes honest. Let's go with another couple of tablespoons. So let's make that the one from before. That instead of a half a cup, make it 3/4 cup. Just under. I'm really bad at measuring things because I do everything with my eye and feel. And this is a great recipe for feeling whether or not it's come together. Now, okay, I think we're good. I think we are good. Cool.